Wow, Fair's still going.
Almost set a world record.
True. You were what?
I was like 10 seconds off or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beautiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with a guy that didn't really yell that this past weekend, Ferris.
Oh, I did for Rashford's goal and for a goal that probably should have stood in Garnacho's, but you know what?
No, Bobby, not after that Michael Jackson moonwalk, baby. We'll get there.
Hey, listen, as far as I'm concerned, the head can still score goals, right? That head certainly looked like that was over the plane, but we'll get into it. Hola.
And we, of course, also have got Ron.
Oh, there's too much happening.
He's so excited to talk about Chelsea, he doesn't know what to do with himself.
Oh, moist with anticipation.
Yeah, woof. Good.
The $1 billion moist.
Yeah. Man, tell you what, that's it's an expensive one. On tonight's episode of The Beautiful Game, or today's or mornings, whenever you're listening to this, we're going to be discussing Week 4 of Premier League matchup, including late drama that ensued at the Emirates, which was filled with goals, VR decisions, as Arsenal topped Manchester United 3-1 on Sunday. And then there was a hat trick of hat tricks on Saturday, and all the rest of the action from around the league during Week 4. Then we're going to whistle for halftime as the pyrotechnic of the pepperoni and director of the dehydrated meat. I like that one. Mr. Ron enlightens us with his beer news and such in this edition of Ron's Beer News. All the beer, all the news that's fit to drink. We got to remember to put that in there somewhere.
We do. That's yeah.
Then as we return from the magical land of beer, we'll whistle for the second half to commence with little LaLeague's Roundup. There it is. But first, the beer. And speaking of magic, Ferris, you gave me a great segue, if you don't mind me kicking this off.
Okay, go ahead, man. Oh, at first, let's say happy birthday to one second Bond, whose film I haven't seen, George Lazenby birthday.
Yeah. You gotta watch that Bond, dude. It'll inform so many other things that you've seen.
He's been telling us the years that he'd watch it.
I know.
He's not going to watch.
Well, the first he said he wasn't.
The poofy, like no Bond's been in a poofy like collar like that.
You know what?
Whatever it is.
You know what we're going to do? This is the ultimate get back. In many, 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 many years, when you pass on, I'm going to take the recorded voice and soundtrack, and I'm going to put that on a digital player in the casket with you.
Okay,
and you're going to go into eternity listening
with George Lazenby.
Stick around for Ron's Dark Humor podcast coming up.
Yeah, right. Not like the Dame Judi Dench walking me through the lovely golf ball of Spaceship Earth.
Now that'd actually be
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Think the Phoenicians.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, as I said, Ferris, you spoke of the magic, and that's the beer that I've got. Which, what's wrong?
We forgot to start a timer to help us try to keep on track.
Gotcha.
Like, usually
we're 4
we
minutes
all
in.
fail successfully. We're at 4 minutes. Okay. So
add 4 minutes.
Add 4 minutes to that.
Add 4 minutes where you see.
Math on this podcast.
One job.
I actually have a beer from Mr. Keller. But it's wild that he sent it. Or did you pick this because of me? But the beer from Portland, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah? Did you grab this and go, I have to get this for Blake? Did you go there?
I didn't go to Portland for it. No.
Okay.
I want to go to Portland.
So, I got to go. This is Wayfinder Brewery. Their La Magie French style Pilsner. Did you know anything about this brewery?
Mm-hmm.
Like that their logo is like the little pitchfork, but then their other logo of mysteriously delicious beer is a 20-sided dice. And they host D&D dinner events. They've got one coming up September 25th where there's a whole Dungeons and Dragons 3-course meal with beers paired to it. Oh, yeah.
So the whole idea behind that beer when I ordered it was that we were going to do it together on a pod and for a special occasion for you. But when we had a party at our place,
it disappeared.
Someone raided the wrong shelf in the beer fridge, and so there were 3 of them. I gave you one. We were going to have the other 2, but people drank that. So I was like, well, oh well.
Guess we're not doing that.
You know what I guess you did? You rolled a 1 on your initiative, Ron.
Clearly.
And,
My luck was way too low on the 4-sided die.
Well, that's not how that works. You just upset all the D&D people. I don't even know how to continue this pod now. That's just...
You roll the dice for luck, whatever.
Yeah, okay, well, moving on. That's some
zero.
Ferris's face is like, what's happening? Well, I was super stoked. I was like, oh, I'm going to grab this one beer. I know Ron, they said I got drinks, so I'll just grab this. I hadn't really looked at this. I grabbed this. I'm like, is that a 20-sided dice? Then I look at the company. What? Seriously, like your ticket price includes gratuity for your server and dungeon master. Beverages are sold separately by the bar staff, tableside service. No need to step away from the action. I want to go to that. I want to go to that. I want to run that bar is actually what I want to do. So here's their deal. Wayfinder Beer, based in Portland, Oregon. Let me read their first line. Greetings, fellow wanderers and fans of full-strength fun. Wayfinder Beer, based in Portland, Oregon, is a lager-centric brewery that combines old and new school lager techniques to push the envelope of what lager can be. The founders of Wayfinder, lager fanatics themselves, and proselytizers of cool fermentation, installed a dedicated decoction vessel? I don't know that word.
Yeah, that word.
To achieve malt complexities otherwise unattainable. Ron, we got to look at what a decoction vessel is next. DECOCTION vessel. And this is used to achieve malt complexities otherwise unattainable. The beers are a mix of tradition and science of blending ancient brewing techniques, newer Nars-style German precision, and the swagger of American craft. Although we are rewriting the definition of lager for the next generation of craft beer enthusiasts, we're bringing it with traditions of Europe and America's favorite beer. That's like a cool message I can get behind. That's like art and science slapped into one. Did you figure out what a decoction?
Yeah. It's a type of mashing method used by most breweries back in the day. Today, it's a bit of a controversial topic. Many German brewers claim that it develops malt character, depth, and a superior foam. Others feel that it's a waste of energy and time and is unnecessary now that modern, well-modified malts are available to everyone.
Dude, if I learned anything playing D&D, you can't tell no wizard something's unnecessary. It's all there for a reason.
That is an astute point, Blake.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, Ron, I'm super stoked for this beer. I cannot wait. I noticed it's rated rather high as well.
Yeah, I ordered it so that we could all have it. You're the only one that's actually gonna.
Hope somebody enjoyed it at a pool party over the summer,
right? Well, I'm already loving it. It makes me want to take a Portland trip just for this. Soccer and go play some D&D.
If the Pride get in, and remember the finals in Portland. I'm going. I don't care what's going on. I'm going. Even if they're not, even if it's like Portland Thorns versus whoever, I want to be in Portland.
That would be pretty cool to go see the NWSL Championship and play a little D&D at a D&D pub. That's awesome.
The bar, the brawl, the brawl bar or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what you gents drinking?
The sports bra.
Sports bra. That's
sports bra. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
That's still a great name for a bar.
Yeah,
friend that plays all women's sports.
Friend of the pod, Caitlin, went to it.
Yeah, went to it. Yeah.
She showed me a bunch of pictures while she was there, and she's like, "Hi, I got there before you guys." This is pretty cool. Good for her.
Jealous.
I know it. So, I have a bit of a theme beer, but stick with me because it's a little bit of a ride to get there. From San Diego.
I've heard of it.
A brewing company called AleSmith Brewing Company. Founded with a passion and respect for brewing in 1995, AleSmith continues to be recognized as one of the world's foremost craft breweries on the strength of numerous awards garnered at prestigious local, national, and international competitions. Consistently ranked in the world's top 10 list of consumer-generated website Rate Beer, AleSmith is currently number 6 out of more than 33,000 breweries worldwide. It's family-owned, community-minded. AleSmith celebrates diversity, charity, and a desire to deliver world-class beer with 5-star service to our customers.
Cool.
So I picked a stout. And a good old 12% stout.
Cool. Okay.
Because after Chelsea's wonderful, not so good win or loss to...
I wrote a good headline for it, though.
I need a good beer for laying down and avoiding.
Okay, fair enough.
So this is the Speedway Stout, as Chelsea speeds their way to the bottom of the table.
Okay. I see what you did there.
I'm still following this path.
Speedway Stout's ominous pitch black appearance has become a hallmark of this modern day classic. Chocolate and roasted malts dominate the flavor, supported by notes of dark fruit, toffee, and caramel. A healthy dose of this locally roasted coffee added to each batch brings out the beer's dark chocolate flavors, enhances its drinkability. Despite its intensity, Speedway Stout's fine carbonation and creamy mouthfeel make it a smooth and surprisingly easy to drink beer. This beer ages well and will continue to mature for years to come. So this is a beer from them that you can get year round. Bitterness is 70 on the IBU, which is a little bit high for a stout, considering bitterness is normally not tracked in stouts and more like IPAs and pale ales. But it should be pretty interesting. So this is just a beer for me to kind of lick my wounds and move on to another weekend.
Excellent.
Be in 2 weeks because it's international break.
International break.
Well, I'm drinking this.
Extra
I'm drinking this because I love the D&D connection, and it's called La Magie, and my weekend was magical, so I'll take it.
One interesting thing about this Speedway Stout is it won silver at the Great American Beer Festival. It won gold at the San Diego International Beer Competition, and it also won Best Stout at the Beer World Cup. So this is a pretty well decorated stout for us.
Cool, man.
Ferris, I don't know if you got to see the can art, by the way. I know Ron was familiar with it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I did see that because I think he was opening it up when you said you were doing that, because I think you might have brought that over to my place when we were having to record in a different way because of the flooring here, and you had your first box of Tavor. Was that in the first box?
Yeah. And we didn't drink it.
I saw it. Yeah, no,
day.
yeah.
Right.
We didn't have it, but we pulled out like, hey, here are 2 or 3 together. Here are 2 or 3 together, and did it that way. Yeah.
That Tavor app is pretty great.
I'm super stoked.
I recommend giving that a try if you haven't. I had one little issue when we got the latest shipment. We had a few beers that were bulged like this, and they were kind of crushed, so you could tell somebody
I'm going to turn my kid into all black here in a second.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Good news is it's been a while, so it shouldn't be...
You'll be safe, Ferris.
We have a black counter here, so I'm going to open it on the black counter.
Open slowly.
Yes. All right, here we go. I can't do that. I'm not going to open it up next to the mic just for fear of something.
Gosh, this smells so good, Ron.
It was fine. Yeah, I went slow and just peeled her back. Man, that thing looks black just in there.
I know it, right?
Was the old engine oil the darkest thing we've ever had on the pod? I certainly feel like it is.
From Harvesttoon in Scotland.
Pours great.
This is a close second.
You ain't lying, man. Pours wonderfully. A nice caramely coffee head to it.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Smells lovely. Smells like a proper stout.
You ready, Blake?
Hold on, I was working on this delicious work.
Oh, that's a good head on that one, eh?
Yeah, in a beautiful Arsenal glass, courtesy of Ferris from London. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Oh, that's a good stout.
Don't taste 12%, do you, Russ?
I mean,
yeah, it's not bad.
Up front,
it's not bad. Yeah,
you taste the alcohol more than it finishes. And
normally,
normally in those really heavy alcohol stouts, you get it at the end, not the beginning.
Yeah, but one of the things that we've definitely talked about here on the pod, and I've mentioned like Tactical does such a great job of this, but I love it when you read like what notes you should get in the beer, and dark fruit check, toffee check, caramel check, I mean, it really runs down that what you expect out of as it says, a rich chocolate coffee stout, because it hits everything. Yeah, it's great. And sometimes it's not even like, you can throw in various hops and wild hops and this and that, and you can do this really weird thing like, oh my god, it's a sour that should taste like a lager, and you do all these weird things. Sometimes just keep it simple, right? Keep it simple, stupid, and just make yourself a good beer that goes true to that style. Just, sometimes it tastes perfect.
Yeah, and the mouthfeel is cleaner than most kind of stouts, right? Like I think Old Rasputin is a stout that really gives you that like thick mouthfeel at the end. It's a delicious beer, right? Don't get me wrong, but it kind of has that thick feel at the end. This is much more clean.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that are perfect of their style, this French style Pilsner, as it says here, good Lord, like, it's got that funk of like a Pilsner Urquell, just a hint of it, but not too much. That kind of grassiness, and that sweet little malt on the back end that covers the hop up instantly. I mean, look, can you guys see how clear that is?
Yeah,
that is bonkers.
Oh, man, we can see you through the glass.
Like, again, if you've never brewed beer, lagers, while the taste is simpler, are so much harder to make and to make well and to make clear. And holy cow, man. This is gracias, Ron. This is very good.
I don't know if you can see this, but it's
the opposite. I can't see anything behind you. In fact, it is a black hole absorbing all light. Like, that is pretty dark.
100%. This might be darker than the OE.
Man, Ron, this is one of the best Pilsners I've ever had. You got to see if Tableware app can get you another round of those.
Yeah, I'm on a huge Pilsner lager, Vienna lager kick.
Mm-hmm. Good Vienna lager. Oh, love a good Vienna lager.
I have a Vienna lager in the tank, if you will, just kind of waiting for a pod.
Every time I go to Gatlin Hall Brewing here in Orlando,
the Dortmunder lager is real nice.
That one and their Vienna lager, which won
gold.
No, didn't it win bronze?
It might have been. It might. Yeah, there was their other lager.
Yeah,
because when they first opened up, they did lagers and IPAs extremely well, and they still do. But man, that Dortmunder, that's one of my favorite styles, and they did do a fantastic job there.
It's been too long since I've been to my German joint, so this weekend we're going to go do some hiking, and then when we're done, we're going to do dinner at the Schultzbräu, because they're tapping another one of their Helles lagers fresh that weekend.
Nice. And Oktoberfest is starting to come out. I know. Been a big storm in a bit, but we just dropped our Oktoberfest.
I'm really glad you just said that. That's probably actually what will be happening when we go there. Yes. Yeah,
absolutely. So for our next pod, which is obviously next week during international break, and we do our Premier League preview, we're going to do a little Oktoberfest action.
Cool. Do we each bring our own Oktoberfest to the table, or how does this work?
Surprise.
Okay.
Well, now that you told me, though, I'm going to make sure I have some Oktoberfest beer. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I've got a plan for at least Ferris and I.
I was like, something. When we changed the mics, I don't have my Schultzbräu scarf that I've been hanging up on my mic for a while. You just made me think about it there, Blake.
There you go.
Ooh. Gosh, this is flipping so good, Ron.
You're welcome, my friend.
Oh my gosh, that beer is ridiculous. Okie dokie. Moving on up to the Premier League. Late drama, lots of drama out in North London. Late drama filled with goals, and VAR sees Arsenal come up with a 3-1 win over Manchester United at the Emirates. Quick goals from Rashford in the 27th and Odegaard in the 28th minute. Although there was some, that was a very confusing game. Some people said it was 45 seconds. Other people said it was a minute and a half than the Premier League.
It's going to round up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to round up.
But they were all but forgotten come the dying minutes of the match, as Alejandro Garnacho goal for Manchester United in the 89th was ruled offsides by VAR, only for the eventual game-winning goal in the 90th plus 6 minutes by Arsenal's Declan Rice to put away following a corner. Then in the added extra time it was like the 90th and 11th minute. Yeah, I guess it ended at 12th, didn't it? The game was fully put to rest with Gabriel Jesus goal. And I think 12 or 13 minutes of extra time. It felt like it went on for flipping ever. That extra time.
Yeah, because it was 8 minutes, but then it rolled 8 minutes because there was a VAR on the Garnacho goal, and there was a VAR on the Rice goal, and there were substitutions thrown in. Plus, there was a goal, so there was just it added up to
there was some
for sure
down.
Yeah, the like the time was fine, and we know now what to expect. We're going to get these 8 minute goals. Me and Phil are sitting there going, well, it should probably be 5 or 6, and it turns out to be 8.
Yeah,
where the hell they pull 8 from, but whatever.
But that's going to be the normal. That is what. Yeah.
Plus, there's a lot of time wasting in stoppage time, right? Mm-hmm. So the refs are constantly adding stoppage time to stoppage time.
Oh yeah, it keeps like just exponentially going further and further and further along.
Put us out of our.
I was flipping exhausted after that match. It felt like a third match happened in those extra time.
Absolutely, yeah. It was interesting. We me and Phil went down to the Celt and we'll watch the match, and all in all, it was a good match. It was a good match, and two quick goals, a good counter, and Rashford very similar to what I watched live there back in January, almost like an exact goal. Where the one in January, he ran pretty much from like midfield on, but had a lovely pass from Eriksson, if I'm not mistaken, to kind of put him in, and then a really quick. The most dangerous time for a team is right after they score, because you're, we got a goal, we're good, and then next thing you know, boom, 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 and there's a goal that happened. You saw it in the Fulham match. City scores, and then 2 minutes later, boom, goal for them. So it happens, and it was a good match. And then that's where the end of the game, it just got interesting. You had a goal scored on a quick counter that had Arsenal fans leaving the stadium,
right.
As they showed.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Right.
And people running through the crowd running through the streets going, they scored. Yeah.
Only to be called not a goal because of, I wonder, not just in this game, but in most, where is the camera for offside? Because is it like on the other end zone? Because the way they do these are never in line with the actual line, it seems like, unless they just happen to do it around the camera. Either way, it was inches ruled off, come down off of the corner. Declan Rice, who was pretty much anonymous for a majority of the game, just standing there. Ball bounces around, ball played over to him, scores. That goes to VAR because of a potential foul on Johnny Evans, who subbed in defense for United. A lot of pundits, it should have been called. It should have been a foul because Gabriel knew what he was doing. Nonetheless, play happens. We're in the 90th. A good ball over the top to Jesus makes the defender miss, and lovely slotted goal in what was probably a 1-1 game, and similar to the game you watched in January, which probably should have been 2-2, though. Those kind of late goals there. All of a sudden, now it's a 3-1, and bingo.
Yes, I think super important for Declan Rice to score his first goal in that fashion, and for Jesus to get his goal coming back in from the recovery from his surgery, which was way faster than I thought it was going to be. But it was the end of the match prior to extra time was already exhausting, and then the extra time was exhausting. Right. And I really thought, is this going to be 2-2? Like what, in extra time, is this going to happen here? But two Michael Jackson moves, I feel like, between Jesus and then it was Gabriel, right? For the offsides. Yeah. So, yeah.
But my problem with that is one, that you're not looking right down the line, right? You're looking at a kind of behind angle. at it, and the way the lines were drawn. And wasn't there some rule that like, hey, they're going to be a little bit more lenient on offsides this year, or something to that extent? I don't know the full rule.
Yeah, we read it in one of the pods, but yes,
right. But like this seemed like that would have been that example. But the way they drew the lines were up to the shoulders. But the way he's doing it is he's like, if you stepped up to a line and then we're trying to avoid the line and not be like cut by the line, if it were to go straight up on you, he's kind of like leaning. His body's moving one way and he's leaning back the other way. But to me, from the angle, it looks like his head is leaning over what would be, and like your head can score a goal. Your head's a part of. I don't know. It so was basically weird. Either way, it was super tight, and this is where I think, like, as we've said it 100 times, it has to go to the attacker there, because I mean it's just so tight. But it wasn't. I'm
looking at the Manchester News. All right, so it's not out of London. But I mean, all they're saying is that that Premier League looks at it from several different angles, and then picks the one they're going to go with as far as the view is concerned, which might not necessarily be the one that we saw.
Then why if you're looking at it from different angles, why not show an angle that really shows it, opposed to one where there's and it's not what Ron brought up right here was from, I don't know, a while ago, or I can't tell. I think it's, but it the camera, depending on where it's at, but it's like, if where this camera's at, you can see across that line fairly well, right? Well, over here, you're at a bit of an angle to see it. So it's tough. And we're talking inches here.
They're literally saying it's the shoulder. It's literally just the edges of the shoulder.
And if it's the shoulders, but if your head's over your shoulder, your head can score a goal. So why not mark it from head to head, or that first part of your body? That's what, and I don't remember what the offside rule or like rule change was, where they were going to kind of limit it, but nonetheless, it was overruled. That swung like there was momentum swinging one way. That could have been a 2-1 game. The momentum swung instantly back with that 1-1. And as many times as Arsenal has in the past year, pushed on, got that goal, and then added on to it with one of the last kicks of the game. And United haven't gone to the Emirates probably 6 or 7 games, and they just don't have a good time out there.
I'll tell you this though, that was like some situational awareness in the play for him to pull up like he did to force that offsides, because it was close, and it was like the gamble. I was like, oh God. So here it is. So this isn't necessarily a new rule. It was implemented last season, but it's just officially in writing with the objective to make offsides-based decisions easier for referees and VAR. The new law states that, quote, a player who is clearly offside should not become onside on every occasion when an opponent moves and touches the ball. This means that it's no longer a guarantee that a player will be deemed onside if the ball touched an opponent before him. If it's there to clip any doubt of how to correctly officiate the offside rule with a lot of uncertainty surrounding it, last season no one really was quite on the same page. That's it, though. So that's really about the ball being touched prior.
So I just looked up the Hawkeye offside, or semi-automated offside technology.
And that's what the Premier League uses? I know they use it for goal line.
Yeah. And essentially they have 6 cameras that are, 8 cameras that are around the pitch. And then I even went and found the FIFA offside technology test manual, which goes through and shows you what basically the concept and how they calibrate it, and the different cameras that they are using, 1080p, 2D scenarios.
Like, how cool would that be if it's like, we use 540p cameras too,
right? And then it shows you how the cameras break things up into zones. Ferris can see it. You can't, because I'm not sharing my screen.
There's the donuts on the screen right now.
What?
It looks like donuts on the screen.
So they have it broken up into different zones. I'll put this in our chat. This is really interesting. especially if you're a science nerd like me, how they break everything down. And essentially they have 5 zones across the Y axis of the field. So X would be goal to goal, Y would be end line or sideline to sideline. And they show you how they reference the various camera setups.
And is that what the Premier League uses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's from FIFA. And, either way, I think it was extremely close.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
extremely close.
For me, this match was like, on one hand, I scared the crap out of my daughter when that Declan Rice goal went in, and then probably more so when the Jesus goal went in. It was just guaranteed. But it was like the reason football is great. There's nothing more. There's no more release than like a goal coming that really matters. You know what I mean? And I flipped out so what I'm trying to say is the experience of that as a fan and everything. And oh my God, hey, we beat Manchester United was awesome for the like, holy crap in the end. But I can't even come on this pod and have fun and go at Ferris because we were about to have, I was so angry because we were about to have the same thing that we've had, which is stat-wise, we should win the game and we're going to draw or lose this. And that first goal is a perfect example. We literally owned 26 minutes and then you guys scored. Like for 26 minutes, all anyone said was, God, Manchester United looks awful. And then you score. And that is like, Arsenal needs to, I don't know, what is their next match? They need to comfortably win the next match.
Don't worry. Coming after the break, you have Everton. Yeah, that's...
Everton's beaten them like 3 times in the last 2 years.
Yeah, but I think, you're right. The hard part, as much of a release as it was, that same release I had. But then it goes to VAR.
Yeah.
And then taken away. So it goes both ways, and it'll go both ways throughout the season and be on either side of it. And that's not the point. But it was once again a very good match. This is the match between these two teams is starting to be like what it was in the early 2000s.
It's good
because it's close games, it's fun games back and forth. Now you add different elements of VAR and yada 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 and all of those things. And this game was determined by a matter of inches because that's the crap that United's starting to get now could be switched on. Arsenal had an inch or two gone the other way. Sure. It's a matter of inches, and there's other calls there that you can point at and go that should have been called on the Rice goal. The only thing you can hope for is that it evens out in the wash, right? Is that throughout the course and totality of the season, the soccer gods or these type of calls just even themselves out, right?
Well, and these aren't
they do, and usually that's how it occurs. But nonetheless, it was still a fun match from top to bottom and a tactically astute match. Much different from a United side on how they went to the game, looked much more organized. They did not allow Arsenal to play their way. Arteta went back to what he kind of knows, right? It's your same back four that you had. Playing a summer that he hasn't played. He's been kind of chopping and changing so far this season. So a bit interesting on both sides, and it came down to just 12 minutes of just wildness that you didn't see for a majority of the game.
I just go ahead, Ron.
Real question is, Blake, how do you feel 4 games into the season being below Tottenham on the table?
4 games in, I don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's way too early to say.
But you got to twist that whenever you can.
No, but how I feel is what I just said though, which is that like I was like, here's another game. We're going to statistically, quote unquote, win the match and lose this or draw this. Especially at that 26-minute mark, Arsenal had outplayed. Well, Actually, Manchester United just did not play well those first 26 minutes. Arsenal owned that.
I did agree. That was the most organized that I've seen them look. They actually ended the first half.
You keep saying first
with
half.
Possession more of the ball.
But I'm talking about that first half of that half was brutal, dude. I mean, pretty much it was always on Arsenal's side. Like.
Yeah, but that's going to be expected. You're away from home against one of the more attacking teams in the league that you're going to have to sit in and kind of hold shop. And they're really give me a chance in the 26th minute that was overly good on the United goal. There wasn't, which tells me they frustrated Arsenal and set up shop to do that.
Did they frustrate Arsenal?
The only other clear chance in this game was the second half when that ball fell to Saka point blank and Onana had an ace save on him. Other than that, the big chances in the game were far and few between from both sides. United relied on what they kind of did under Ole and those type of where it just counterattack. Use that pace on a counter. And that's what occurred. That's how who was it? West Ham the week before beat Brighton.
Yeah.
Barely had any of the possession. Brighton were just boom, 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 just hitting them and then boom, 2 counters, 3 in that game, and boom, goals.
Well, you also can't, trip over a ball 5 feet in front of goal. I mean, if Havertz was trying his damnedest to get something, even if he had hit that and it went straight to the keeper, great. You know what I mean? Man,
Ron's seen that before, haven't you, Ron?
Oh, I mean,
he was Timo Werner and Timo Werner right there, man.
That was like I've seen that 6, 8, 10 dozen times. Like that, I'm happy we let him go.
I sat there and I was like, you know what? After I watched that, I was like, I can do that. Yeah, because I have done that on the pitch before.
So how bad is his? Because I know the pundits like, man, his confidence is gone, and that's. I mean, I don't want to say what someone's thinking, but God, that's what that looked like, man.
Do you know what actually kind of helped in this game? Is with the price tag that Havertz comes in for, Arteta almost has to play him. But my God, he's so much like a Mount. That's why I said on the last pod, Chelsea fleeced us because Mount, a great midfielder, Havertz a good midfielder, but what's their number one role, right? You know that Casemiro is a out and out number 6. Odegaard is an out and out number 10. What's Havertz? Is he a false 9? Is he a winger? Is he a box to box? Is he a number 6?
Well, keep this in mind.
And Mount's the same way.
They came from a very broken system.
Yeah.
Right? So,
but fresh starts.
Yeah, but still, they're in fresh starts in systems that they're not used to playing. So it's still 2 left feet.
My point, Arteta almost doesn't know what system to play to fit him into. You saw in United's first few games, what system are United playing with Mount in there? Because Eriksen's a much better partner with Bruno and Casemiro in that midfield, even at age 34, and great bald head guy too. He's looking great. But that's my point. Where did those two people?
I don't know. Only time will tell. It's only 4 games in.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of tinkering that has to go on, and you guys need the depth.
Oh,
right?
sure.
You need the depth because you're in European competition.
Hey, look, I'll put it this way: if Havertz can win the Champions League for Arsenal, I'll forgive him. It's fine.
So that's where I was heading next. Right. Havertz has not been good in the Premier League, but he's been great in Champions League.
True.
So
we'll see.
Maybe that's where he's going to shine.
It has been rough on Ron when he's like, guys, you can't be hard on them. Chelsea's been awful.
No. I'm just giving you the reality of it.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I think Havertz is, this will sound weird, is more of a big game player, because he was in the right spot to score a goal there and didn't. But in other big games in Champions League for Germany, he has produced. So who knows? Maybe he's better in those European type and not so much in these type of games.
I don't know. Have his chance because let's rest him a little bit and play him there. Let's give him.
You guys are playing PSV, right?
Yeah. Let's let him have a chance. Shall we move on to the hat trick? Oh, hat tricks For only the second time in Premier League history, there was a hat trick of hat tricks on Saturday. In a match between Burnley and Tottenham, Spurs captain Heung-min Son, I'm so bad with names, the people that I can actually even say, recorded his third career Premier League hat trick in what was a 5-2 victory for Tottenham. Then you guessed it, Erling Haaland records his fifth, and he was my captain, but I'm sure most people had him as their captain. His fifth already Premier League hat trick in a 5-1 win for Man City over Fulham. And for the completion of the hat tricks of hat trick comes young Evan Ferguson, who I sat this week. His first ever Premier League hat trick, as all three of his goals helped Brighton to take down Newcastle by a scoreline of 3-1. Those hat tricks were literally like a boon to my fantasy league, and then like a knife twist as well.
It sucked because I set my FanDuel lineup, and I had Son in there. Did not have Haaland, did not have Ferguson. Thought about playing for Ferguson and did not. Almost made him my captain in the single game, and that didn't work. But do you guys know when the last hat tricks on the same day was?
1965.
Premier League wasn't around.
Okay, fair enough.
Premier League era.
So Premier League era.
Premier League came around in 92.
99.
1997.
Blake's close. It's 95. Looks like it was Robbie Fowler, Alan Shearer, and Tony Yabo. I don't know how to say that, so I apologize. But that was the only day, and that was on September 23rd, 1995. But you know what I think? It's Erling Haaland's been in the league for how long? Like not even
a year and
a season and a half, a season and a month. 5 hat tricks already. He already ties like Robin van Persie's overall from the entire time he was in the Premier League. And like
that's a record that went on years and years and years.
See, and like this is why Kane left. He didn't want to be embarrassed by getting eclipsed so fast once he'd beaten Alan Shearer's record. He didn't want to see his record disappear within a year and a half from Haaland. So he's just like, I'll just go to the Bundesliga.
I think Kane's going to come back and he's going to break Shearer's at some point. But, Kane or Son to get his first goals on the season will do a lot for his confidence.
Yeah, and that one was just a ruthless chip, which thwarts a defender making a play for it and completely thwarts the keeper.
And the 2 assists from James Maddison, what a signing he's been.
Yeah.
He's that Odegaard for Arsenal. He's that Bruno for United. He's the one that pulls the strings there and makes those things occur. And he's just absolutely been stellar so far. Burnley, a lot to do, but you're going to see a lot of these games, as we talked about for Tottenham, those 5-2 games, right? Those 4-3, those kind of, that's Ange Ball.
And Burnley actually struck first in this match.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was going to be a really tough day for the Spurs. But man, they battled back nicely.
But again, if Spurs continue like this, it's going to just be wild to have given up Kane and be that much better.
But also, think about where Spurs are at. I don't think they're in any European conference, right?
No, it's true.
So you got to focus on this. Ooh, who knows? How is City's second goal not offside? Can somebody explain that to me? The defender standing right there. Or I'm sorry, the attacking player standing right in front of goal.
Oh, that's the
how in God's name?
Alvarez? Not Alvarez.
It was Ake.
Yeah, Ake.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. I had him playing, so I was glad he scored for my fantasy. But you're absolutely right. I don't understand that.
God's name, is that not offside? But they went on to win 5-1. But they score that. That game's 1-1, and who knows how much longer that's going on. But wild to me that's not. If you get a chance, just go and see it, and you can form it, for yourself.
I mean, a lot of folks are obviously on the same thing, saying it's a clear situation for an offsides. I just don't understand. I don't understand. It's like that's still a problem. Like VR is great.
Fulham going to get an apology because we've started that train, and why haven't other teams gotten
the
apologies for something?
worthless.
Oh, absolutely. And then, so,
what are you going to do otherwise?
Right.
Right. You can't redistribute points. You can't. Just sucks.
So here's the sticking point. Law 11 in the FA handbook says a goal will be adjudged to be offside if a player is preventing an opponent from playing or being able to play the ball by clearly obstructing the opponent's line of vision. Well, that's what I'm saying. He was clearly in Leno's eye line and impacts his ability to play the ball and make the save. So while VAR doesn't intervene to disallow the goal remains a mystery. It's irrelevant whether or not Akanji attempted to play the ball because he was breaking the line of sight for Leno. So, yeah. So, you win some, you lose some. So the Arsenal-Manchester United match get very close calls that in the end are correct by the thinnest of margins. And then this is not so thin.
Like watching again, Aki's the one that hits the ball. It's Akanji, yeah. That has to jump over the ball as it's going between his legs in an offside position. So Aki got the goal because he hit the ball. Akanji never touched it, but literally had to spread his legs and jump over the ball to prevent it from hitting him in an offside position. You're telling me as a goalie, you're not expecting that player to play that ball? Come on. That's
and it was probably obstructed until he jumped over it.
So,
yeah, wild.
Is it, even though this is from the end of August, we didn't bring it up. Is it worth mentioning the Mike Dean admitting and avoiding a VAR call to spare a referee more grief last season? Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah. I saw that, which tells me he's a Muppet.
Oh, he sucks. Yeah.
He's never not sided with the ref. He's give me a break. I think one of the best hat tricks though of the weekend, young Evan Ferguson.
Yeah, man.
God, you don't think he's going to go for 100 mil like every other Brighton?
Wait. No. 115 million to Chelsea for 9 years. That's what that says.
And he'll be 25 at the time. Right? What was that? I sent you guys the other day. You signed some kid out of Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
On an 8-year contract. And at the end of it, like a 7-year contract, at the end of it, he's only going to be 25 years old.
Right.
Well,
he subsequently was out.
We haven't gotten to Chelsea yet. We're getting there.
Newcastle, though, 2 losses on the bounce. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it
Brighton and Liverpool, good team, so we don't want to, but still interesting.
Is it a case where Leicester takes the Premier League by storm and wins the league one year, and then the next year they don't do very well because all the teams have figured it out?
Probably.
So is this a little bit of that?
Probably. Leicester didn't have the same players going into that next year. Some were sold off and whatnot. But I don't want to say that
not to go to Chelsea, but every team that is going to play Chelsea is going to watch the Forest game and the Hammers game.
Sure.
And now they know how to beat Chelsea. Right?
Sure.
It's pretty similar with Newcastle.
Where I was going to go, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but is Eddie Howe the right person to get them over that next line? To
get them over the hump? Well, do you remember that's what I said to you was my concern was for them, consistency last year, they overshot how good I think they were and were amazing, but they would really screw the pooch sometimes. And I know it's only 4 weeks in, we keep saying that, but at the same token, the Premier League starting to become college football bowl or standings where if you don't have a perfect season, you're just screwed. You know what I mean? And they're already in a spot where it's going to be a much harder fight, and it was a fight for them last year to be in the top 4.
Yeah, and Howe's said that they punched above their weight essentially, and there's still a lot to do with the plan that they have in place, and it surpassed that kind of plan last year. Going into Champions League, I think that's now they're in a tough group as we said, but two games here back to back where you had the lead, you left it. What does that do for your confidence? Rolled into this game, Brighton steamrolled you. I'm not looking forward to United playing them.
Oh, I don't want to play New. Don't be wrong.
I don't want to play Brighton right now
because, Brighton or Newcastle, because Newcastle's also going to be good when you don't want them to be. I mean, these are both two teams that I'm not excited to play.
Some interesting scorelines there, nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, we finally got it. Luton Town's first Premier League home match of the season kicked off under the Friday Night Lights of Kenilworth Road. Unfortunately, West Ham ruined the affairs. They won 2-1. Did you guys see on NBC Sports the guys walking in and talking the path that the West Ham fans would take, where you go up and look in the yards? He goes, look, the laundry's hanging up.
I can see your bath. Yeah. Like, hey, I can see your bath.
Like, friggin' amazing. I mean, that... God bless him.
I have to go back and watch like highlights of that game. I did not get a chance to see it. I was it was opening day for but like I cannot wait to sit on a Saturday morning with a cup of tea and just watch a match. From there. If I ever get back over to England,
we gotta go.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be fun?
All the gates are sponsored by a different company. Domino's Pizza has one of the gates, right?
Jim's Card Shop has one. I don't know, but it's something like that. Like
so great.
It's like reminiscent of the old Burnley's Fish and Chip. What was that? Dave's Fish and Chip Shop. What was that guy's name? Dave Fishwick. Was that his name?
Dave Fishwick. I think you're right. You're right.
Yeah. It wasn't it wasn't a fish shop. He had like a sign shop, but I just said fish shop because that was his name. Yeah. Just delightful. And you know what though? Cool to hey, you know what? They got their first Premier League goal at home.
Yeah, cool.
And so, here's the thing, guys. You just gotta do your thing. If you go down, take that parachute payment, and come right back up.
Good time.
We need the pork pie hats. Now, speaking of I don't know if this club could come right back up. Everton finally scores some goals, but then so does Sheffield United and Pickford on his own net, as they can only manage a 2-2 draw with the Blades.
And that Pickford goal is right out of Scott Sterling's
the bounce
goalie
tutorial
parody video. Because, I mean, that ball is pinged hard off the crossbar, goes right into Pickford.
Yeah, you can't.
Doesn't touch a blade of grass on the way in.
Yeah, you can't do a lot about it. I mean, it's one of those. You're just like, well,
it's one of those days.
Exactly. But we'll see. I mean, both these clubs are going to be fighting down there at the bottom all year. Good to see a Danjuma goal. We'll see if he can either have a spark for them on the offensive side of things. You get depleted and you look at someone like the net spending in that for Everton, and they can't. And, they actually made a bit on players that they sold, but that's not good for a team that's been fighting at the bottom. No.
It's a rest falling down the drain.
Yeah. Not good.
You needed to hold on to some of those people, clearly.
Yeah.
You can't say we made money and just, as you just said, Ron, you're right down the toilet, man.
Well, Everton's been pretty upfront with their financial woes, right? And if you have been paying attention over the past couple of seasons, watching them slowly dwindle down the table, it's coming, right? They're having such financial problems.
So for those of us neutral to the Everton thing, I always liked Everton from you got Liverpool down the street, and then here's Everton, scrappy guy down the street. And for the longest time, they were always competitors in the top six. How have they, I feel like in a couple of years, gone from oh man, I'd hate to see them go, that would really be terrible, to can you just go now? The attitude is completely changed, because it doesn't feel like Luton Town is going to go down. They're not good, but I swear to God, they look like they're actually trying far harder than Everton is.
Well, also you've got ownership problems at Everton. You've had strikes over the past, 3 seasons? Not strikes, protests over the past, 3 seasons at Everton? There's a lot of turmoil going on over there. So it's easy for everyone to just kind of
a little over it.
Screw it.
To be honest, Everton, what they're going through right now with stuff is similar to what United is going through, with a lot of turmoil between Glazers but not without the clout and the backing of being a very revenable club.
You just made up a word.
I did, absolutely.
A revered club? Is that what we're going for there?
For what? What were you saying?
Revered club?
I was
about how much money they're bringing.
Yes.
So like you combined,
Revenue Club. Anyways, so
hey man, you know what? Things, Shakespeare made up words. You can do it too, dude.
Right.
It's fine.
Anyways, moving
on. Yes, your point is staying.
Yes,
I get
it. You are correct. They just don't have the ability. But there are lesser teams fighting harder, and it's awful to watch. It's just awful to watch right now. It's not a train wreck anymore. Now it's just kicking the body, and it's like, can we stop? This is gross. And we have another 2-2 draw. Also took place late as Brentford. Give it to me, Ferris.
Embuemo.
Thank you. Goal secures a point for the Bees against the Cherries of Bournemouth. Them
Bees will always get cherries, man.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the. This was one of those that if you happen, I was watching, the goal rush or whatever, kind of bouncing around and stuff, and Bournemouth they are
America's second
favorite club. They are in a spot where they are, I think, going to be very lucky that Everton, Burnley, and Luton Town are in the Premier League this year. Because
probably.
I think that Bournemouth and Sheffield United in any other year, I would already think are going down.
Probably. And we'll get into this next pod too, but they signed somebody that could make a difference as long as they stay healthy. Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
Not fit down the line there for Leeds. And that you saw kind of how that team disintegrated in the center of the park. So American ownership there, Bournemouth. We love the Cherries. We'll see. But yeah, Blake, I agree. They may be quite fortunate to be in a league with 3 worse other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to be fighting for 16th and 17th place. I don't think they'll quite dip in, but
yeah. Do you remember the glory days of when we thought, man, has Norwich been relegated quicker than any team in history? And right now, I know it's only 4 games in, but woof. I think Everton and Luton Town are going to fight for that spot very hard.
Got to be proud of something.
Right?
Brutal. Okay. Oh, speaking of brutal, over $1 billion spent in the transfer market. So does that make Chelsea the mean old sheriff? If so, then Anthony Alagna and the rest of the Robin Hoods of Nottingham Forest just stole all 3 points of the Blues at the Bridge win with a 1-0 win. That's a great headline, Ferris. That's very, very well done.
Quite good.
Ron
Turner with a shutout.
Matt Turner with a shutout. So $1 billion spent, as they've said, the biggest net spenders are Manchester United and Arsenal in reverse order. Arsenal top, Manchester United under, because Chelsea's made a bunch of money and moves out.
Correct.
So we keep saying $1 billion, but they've done good financially. But that's kind of, to me, I don't know what you think, Ron, but that gets to what you said about Everton, which was, well, that's great, but what are you doing with it?
So here's one thing that makes the not just Ferris's headline, but punditry everywhere when they tout the $1 billion spent in the transfer market. The $1 billion spent is not for specifically only first team Premier League Chelsea players. That's people that are going out on loan. Those are people that are in the U21s.
Sure.
That's everywhere. Most of the people that are in this $1 billion spent aren't even going to play for Chelsea's first team, right? That is just over 450 million.
Right. I think.
Right. So this is a disingenuous shout to say 1 billion spent and Chelsea's terrible. Most of the 1 billion that they spent was never meant to play in the Premier League to begin with.
Right. And it's counteracted with 300, 400 million of sales and those type of things, or whatever the number is. But it's also 1 billion spent in 2 transfer markets, 3 cycles. Like, with all of as United have been in the past few seasons, they're not even at $1 billion spent with the Pogbas and all of that. Like, that's impressive. So, and there is some things to be said for how Bowley's going about it in a very American style of 8 years. You spread it out over that 8 years and yada, 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 and all those things. And listen, I think all in all, Chelsea had got some good players, but there's almost too many players to know what kind of style, how are you going to plug players in. There's almost too much competition to every role.
Well, there's certainly, Pochettino talks about it in the press, in the Friday pressers, right? He's constantly saying, like, we need to settle down the team. We need to trim out.
Thin the herd out a little bit there.
More or less. And he's not wrong. There is a lot of overlap. Most of that's getting loaned out. Take a guess how many people were signed and then loaned out or then sold to other teams.
It's like Jose Mourinho never
the same year.
It's like It's like Mourinho never left
since this transfer window or during this transfer window.
11.
How many went out?
15.
Blake?
11.
Oh, you mean just this one?
Just this transfer window.
9.
39.
Well, half of them you never even heard of.
Right? So that's why I'm saying this $1 billion thing is kind of...
but it's not totally disingenuous. Because, I mean...
Yes, it is. Because what people are saying is, just like Ferris did, $1 billion spent and they can't beat Nottingham, right? Well, the $1 billion spent wasn't to beat teams in the Premier League. Only 400 million of that was for teams.
Well, it certainly wasn't spent to beat any teams in the Premier League, Ron. You are correct about that.
Like, a factual statement.
Yeah.
You get my point, right? Yeah. So the idea is we have, over the last 3 transfer windows, we have gotten rid of well over 40 players, like N'Golo Kante, Aubameyang, a bunch of other folks. Right now, there's talk about Cucurella going to Manchester United.
That happened. That was off with
right.
That never happened because, well, anyways, but yeah.
So the idea is we were going to be, and I said this a couple of pods. This is a mid-table year, right? We are not going to be really threatening for anything. We have a long-term fix to deal with, and everybody that's a Chelsea fan is just going to have to be patient because we're in week 4. That means Pochettino's games that matter have only been 4. He's playing with a squad that he's got to bring all of their confidence up. He's got to find chemistry. He's got to find out where people play the best, because he was on a broken system and a low confidence when what players remained came back, right? So there's a lot that has to be done, and we're just going to be a mid-table team.
Let me ask you this. 2-parter. 1, what formation do you play if you're Chelsea manager? And 2, give me a starting 11.
Okay, so I have an idea for this.
Okay,
hold please while I pull up my.
All right, I tell you what.
But the idea is
okay.
The idea is you. I don't know what Poch forgot about soccer, right? So
probably more than we will ever know. But
let me just make it clear that I in no way know more. However, I think we should be going with a 4-2-3-1.
Okay.
Right. And
who's your back 4?
Your back 4. Okay, hold on, please. My back I wouldn't go with the back 4. I'd go with the back 3.
Without trying to bring up what they've done.
No. I'm just making sure I remember the myriad of players that we have.
Who's the 3 in your back 3?
Silva in the center. Because I think
he's 70 years old. And
he's got to anchor it. Okay. Everybody else is young and doesn't know what they're doing. Instead of Dizazi, which I don't understand why we picked him up in the first place.
Yep, great.
Chalobah should go there.
Okay.
Right? Then you also have, and I'm okay with Colwell being on the left back. So that would be, those would be my 3.
So you're back 3. Okay.
That would be my back 3. So then, and then I would have Chilwell off to one side.
Okay.
Reece James off to the other.
Those
That's
2 are
obvious.
easy, right? Everybody knows those. Midfield.
My midfield, Gallagher, Enzo, Caicedo.
Okay. No Lavia?
No, well, he's still unproven as yet. And
yeah, he also costs $100 million.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, it's like you keep dropping huge money on players that are.
So then,
not.
Who's your front three?
My front three,
if healthy. Mind you, everybody's healthy.
Oh, you didn't say that.
Well, that's because half the squad's
injured. Yeah, half the squad is injured. We have Fofana injured, Nkunku, Chukwuemeka, Broja, Trevor Chalobah, Reece James, Mudryk, Badiashile, Lavia, and Bettinelli all injured right now. So if my front three would be Nkunku, Sterling, and Jackson.
But Jackson's a striker, not a left winger.
No, they'd be not in. I didn't pick that in order.
So
I put him in the center.
Where does Sterling play?
Off to the left.
Because and who's off to the right?
Who else did I just say? I mean, I get the point, but that's what I would.
Well, so, but the point being, what formation and who do you plug in? Because there's so many options. There's so many different things that's a problem.
Yep.
I like Jackson, right? I like Jackson. Sterling is, he's serviceable. Not my favorite player out there. I like Enzo. Gallagher works hard. There's something to be said about that, I guess.
Well, so do washing machines.
So do washing machines.
I think slightly better than a washing machine.
All right, you're gonna move on.
Oh, I love we managed to get a little Christification in there at the same time.
Worked really hard, Grandpa. So a washing machine. You got to give me a quote from. Come on, you got to play one from the board
because you're being an.
Blake did the washing machine. I compared him to Scott McTominay, like a better attacking Scott McTominay.
I mean, look, I just think that while it may be technically disingenuous, I think it doesn't matter as long as the fans see how much money is spent, and then you have $100 million players that. No one wants to hear, hey, don't worry. We have 3 players at $100 million each. They're going to be so good in 2 years. Yeah, that's just hard. It's just hard to swallow, especially if you look at other teams.
Go back, Mr. I'm at the top of the league right now. Arsenal was in the for the longest time trying to find a hole in the side of the bottom of the barrel they were in.
They didn't spend $1 billion.
Trying to figure out what players they were going to use and when. So this is not something that's specifically isolated to just Chelsea.
Dude, sorry, Blake, to cap this, can I read you a text conversation with a Chelsea fan, one of my good friends from college that started halfway during the Arsenal game. He goes, must be nice to always have Anthony Taylor on your side. I said, it must be nice to spend $1 billion and still be he goes, no need when you have referees on your side. Need a much better keep, though. I said, well, if you put that $1 billion towards the refs, then you can allocate funds a lot better. He goes on, Anthony Taylor, go for special, blah, 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 blah. We'll try getting the card. I said, wait, no comment now when Anthony Taylor's decision helped out. When Anthony Taylor, I said something, and then I go, piss off and get a kit sponsor first. But then I immediately said, actually, I do like the kits without a sponsor. To be
they
honest.
are quite sharp. I actually really like them. Look,
I want Chelsea to be the better.
You can make all the fun you want.
This isn't making fun, though. This is like saying, this is what I'm saying.
I want Nick Jackson to be good.
You're getting, but people are like, look, if you were doing, I just don't think people are seeing mid-level. I think they feel like they're seeing worse than mid-level. Like again, it sucks. Like you drop 65 whatever on Kai Havertz and he can't kick a ball 5 foot in the goal. You drop 100 on Casado and he just gets an on goal when he comes in immediately. And it's
I feel like for every one thing he does well, he does 2 that are questionable.
But Ferris, you said it to
Blake,
me. Yes.
Is he that good? We had one good season. Before that, he was in South America where he may have been good, but bought for pennies on the dollar. They are essentially one good season with Brighton, and you look how good Brighton are still without him. And he sells for $100 million the next season. Yeah. That's wild. That is they're getting almost what 1,000,000% on their initial investment, Brighton are. Like it is nuts. So is he that good? He was good last season.
Yeah.
But is he actually that good of a player?
Yeah.
So far, he hasn't shown that, especially for the tag that he came in for.
Yeah.
But man,
I agree. I agree to the fact that we are spending an inordinate amount of money, but at the end of the day, none of us have any control over it. And so all you have to do is realize that we are going to be a mid-level team, and it's going to take some time to dig ourselves out of the we're in.
If I were them, I would have a strong campaign to not get a shirt sponsor and pay for her or the badge, and start that campaign to drive towards playing for the badge and put a state like. Maybe don't put a stand for it and good because you need sponsorships and that sort of thing, right? But
especially for the
shirt sponsor, right? For the shirt sponsor, like try to flip that. Like that's a PR thing to try to flip that.
I just think
build some confidence or something. Like play for the badge, play for the bridge. Let's go, Chelsea, blue, blue, blue. But like, come on.
Well, there's no. Again, we've talked about this on the pod. I don't know for the last 40 pods. There's no one is coming out. It would be better if the Chelsea front office came out and said, guys, this is what we're trying to do. But there is no process to trust. This looks like, in some ways, throwing darts at the dartboard and buying all the people that other teams
assets,
want.
Right? I think Tony in our chat said it's like, what do you say?
Asset building.
Yeah. Asset building.
Just like Southampton used to do. Yeah, right? Southampton used to buy all these players, get them better, and then shed them all.
I wouldn't compare it to Southampton. They're playing the championship this season.
I think the biggest problem for dropping 60s on Havertz and Mounces and then 100s on Mudryks and Casados that currently aren't performing is the narrative being woven by having Brighton in the league, who's like, you want our coach? Take him. We'll still go to Europe. Do you want this guy for 100 million? Take him. We'll still be kicking ass right now. And they talking about getting people for pennies on the dollar and turning great players out of them and turning entire coaching teams over. It makes these big spends when they don't pan out look ridiculous. And I didn't just say Chelsea then. I mean, period.
Yeah, fair. I think in 10 years, someone's going to write.
have a great team in 10 years, but all the contracts signed.
Not where I was headed. In 10 years, somebody's going to write the tell-all book of this transition from selling from the Abramovich, having to sell the club to Bowley, and then all the back deals where Potter was hired and all the coaches were basically stolen from Brighton. Like we're going to find out in 10 or whatever years.
It didn't even last a year.
No. So we're gonna find that out in 10 or so years, and we're all gonna be, oh, that's what happened.
I don't even know to take that long. You've already got players that are saying stuff about like, oh, the inconsistency of what was being asked or what is it was so, you know what I mean? Like prior to Poch, obviously, but like, I don't think it'll even take that long to get some of this out.
It's wild. Like you think about last year, like Potter was started off at Brighton, beat United 4-0 or something on the day, goes to Chelsea, doesn't even last 6 months with Chelsea, gets sacked by them.
Hey, but he does get to go to and win his first
when Frank Lampard comes back.
Champions League game. Remember, he sits at the presser and says, "Well, I've never been to a Champions League."
Yeah, exactly. Like wild. I like Poch. I like certain players on the team, but man, anyway, we spent way more time on Chelsea than we thought.
It's okay. Ron had the energy in him. Crystal Palace get their second win of the young season as they get a 3-2 win over Wolverhampton. I mean, Wolves suck, so good for you, Palace. You should have won that game.
Sneaky good though. I mean,
did Nunez's
2 wins, a draw, and a loss so far in the season?
Remember, Nunez went on strike.
He scored in this game.
So he has not been.
I think he scored in this game, did he not?
He has not been traded because he went on strike so that he could facilitate a move to Man City.
He's traded for a 4th round draft pick and considerations later.
For some GAM.
It's targeted allocation.
Was it Nunez or was it Matthias Kuna? I thought. Which one was the one that was supposed to go? Anyways, I think is he still with? I don't know. Anyways.
Either way, Wolves ain't very good right now.
That was a ballsy thing to go on strike.
Yeah. Well, and not be producing. I'm sorry to say. Who you think you are, Casado? All right.
There we go.
Liverpool, they never leave it in doubt as Dominic Subazali gets his first for the club in the 3rd minute. Is Liverpool going to beat Aston Villa 3-0 at Anfield? Aston Villa, I think a lot of us thought we're going to come out the gate swinging this year, and they haven't quite done that as much. I don't know if they're as good as I thought they were at the end of the season last year.
Mind you, they're playing Europe too. We talked about it in the last pod. That squad depth is not quite there. And if you're not firing on a lot of different spots, it's going to be tough. And you're at Anfield, so not an easy place to go in general, right? Just Liverpool looked like Liverpool. Now, good for Liverpool for holding out on Mo Salah at 150 mil, I think was what they offered. However, the Saudi transfer window is not done yet.
No, if they go for 200 million
on Friday, and they can go for a world record of 200+ million. At what point do you keep holding out?
Yeah. I don't. You think Salah? You think he wants to? I don't think he wants to go. I don't think he wants to go. Do you?
You know what? In all honesty, I certainly hope not. I certainly hope that's not how he ends his Liverpool career. That feels really weird saying, but you have to have respect for how Liverpool held out for that fee and how he hasn't come out and said, I want to go to that fee. Like, there has to be something there that there is at least respect for the club, for the player in both respects. But at what point does that go, well, screw it. Sorry, dude. We're going to get 200 mil for that. Like, who knows?
I think without him,
I think he stays. I don't think he goes. I don't know if Saudi even makes that type of approach. They're confident they're going to. I don't even remember which club. There's only like 4 clubs that can do that, but man, wild.
Just to go back real quick, it is Matthias Nunes.
Not Matthias Cunha.
And he was transferred for 53 million.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. So his strike paid off.
Good for him.
Well done.
We see him in Man City. Sure, he'll be riding like 3rd from the bench, right?
Yeah. He'll be playing in the last.
Yeah, you have Holland and then a World Cup winner in Alvarez. So in front there, fella.
He'll be playing. He'll be playing the last 10 minutes of like Man City versus Luton Town.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
After it's like 12-0.
Yeah,
right.
Still get a hat trick probably, but
yeah. Just out of sheer, there's no one else there. Gross. All right. Well, should we blow the halftime whistle and get Ron into some beer news?
Let's do it.
Geez, I just realized. Yeah, we are running a little long, aren't we?
I'm gonna make an audible and keep the beer news short. Gentlemen, do you know what September 7th happens to be?
It's it's not quite fall. I know that.
September 1st, definitely not fall. However, do you know why I thought
7th?
7th, yeah, I know.
September 7th.
Right. We're still not at fall though, right?
Correct.
Okay. Can't wear white after the 7th.
Hobbit Day is September 22nd. I know that.
Oh, well, get your hairy feet costume.
Dragon
out.
Day.
Nope.
Dungeon Day.
Nope.
Wizard Day.
No.
Troll Day.
No.
Sorceress Day.
Blake, he is far
12-sided dice day.
He's far more well versed in the.
He threw those out pretty quick.
Well, too easy.
Yeah, no, I did.
All right, last guess.
Warlock Day.
No. National Beer Lovers Day.
Oh, that's fun.
Samsonite.
Yep.
Way off.
Hey, somebody remind me, because I'm really bad at this, about putting Instagram posts together. I'll actually post the beers we've had on the pod on National Appreciate Your Beer Day or whatever it was.
So you've already forgotten. National Appreciate Your Warlock Day.
But you know what? It's an audio now. So now I can play it back and remind myself.
National Beer Lovers Day, September 7th, 2023. That's all
cool.
We should all collectively sit and sing 99 bottles of beer on the wall.
Has anybody actually completed that song, by the way?
No, because God, it makes me want to drink. And then you're too
good
drunk.
thing it's on
by the
National.
end.
It's National Beer Day.
So you should, on September 7th, fill a glass with an ice cold, frothy favorite beer of yours and savor every gulp.
And that's when? That's on Thursday?
The 7th. So today's Tuesday, the 5th. So let's do the math. Hold on. I got to take off my socks.
Yep.
Carry the 1.
Uh-huh.
Yep. That's Thursday.
Thursday. All right. So
I screwed up.
Have a beer.
Yep.
We will share it.
Yep.
And that's a good story.
I treated last weekend or whatever. Whenever I was texting you guys with my funny videos,
Blake was in his cups a little bit there, sitting out in the backyard with the fire going.
I reminded myself of when Ron and I were roomies back in Orlando and stacked up all the little cans when it was said and done. And I started at like noon, just sort of tending this fire, trying to get storm debris. And I mean, by the end of the day, it's nighttime, dinner's done. We're all, kids in bed, 9 o'clock night. My wife and I are watching a movie or whatever. So I keep grabbing drinks in the movie. And then like the next morning I did that walk out and went, whoa, just looked at, I was like, I haven't done that. And like, who do I think I'm 23? What am I thinking?
Oh man.
But I was
older you get, the harder it becomes that next morning.
Well, and I wish I could mark exactly what I did, because I must have had just the right amount of food, just the right amount of water, and paced it just the right length of time.
Overtime,
yeah,
absolutely.
I woke up in a great friggin' mood. So
yeah, that
good stuff.
Relatively entertaining. What the party that Blake is referring to is that we had a whole bunch of people over one night, and it was a marathon of drinking, and there was like well over 300 dead soldiers at the end of it, piled up on a table.
We made them in the shape of like a chevron, like a that you would wear on a military uniform, like old school style.
Okay.
I have a picture of Blake and I at the other end of the table, like
loving life.
After drinking all that friggin' beer. Yeah. We started a water fight that night with our other roommate. And the next morning there was still water dripping off the ceiling. It was a day.
Well, and I just had Facebook remind me, Ron, that the other day was the making an IPA with Australian hops tonight. So excited.
Oh,
yes. We had our kegerator for the first time. We couldn't get the CO2 right to pour out and not be foamy, but we didn't want to waste the beer. So it's not right. You pass that to someone, they're drinking it while you're trying to pour another one. We just kept pouring them. Dude, I don't know how much we drank that night trying to get the line correct for the CO2. It was pretty funny.
We made a Falconer's Flight IPA, and it was right around the 8% mark, and we totally forgot that it was around the 8% mark.
So did Blue Ache on Saturday. Blake was like, I didn't realize this beer was 8% all of a sudden.
Yeah. I was drinking the Dogfish Squalls because they kind of sour with a little bit of salt in them. Delicious outside warm. And I went, oh my God, these are 8%. Yes. Yeah. So there we go.
Beer day is on the 7th. Drink some beer with the friends. Go on a bar crawl. Tour a brewery. Have a good time.
Just be safe doing so
on that day.
That sounds like a great idea. And Oktoberfest officially kicks off that next day?
No, September 16.
16. Okay.
September 16 through October 3.
All right. Right around the corner. All right. Should we get us back in from the halftime whistle? And let's move over to the LaLeague's Roundup.
Love it. The Spanish Federation, RFEF. It says like royal something, but they're not really that royal, let's be honest. Announced today the sacking of women's manager Jorge Vilda 2 weeks following Spain's World Cup winning side that he was manager of. Now, there's a lot of controversy behind him, and kind of a lot of players were on strike for how he kind of handled things and so on and so forth. Anyways, this comes all throughout the Spanish saga that is currently taking place from the kiss from Luis Robas on Jennifer Hermosa. So it's just yet another, absolute mess and twist and turn in the Spanish soccer saga, right? It's madness on what's going on. When will it end? Will it end in 90 days because FIFA suspended Robles for 90 days? Will it be when his mom comes out of the church? Like, who knows when this is really going to end? But it's an absolute mess. And there just always is, like, every week it seems like there's a twist to the tale and this twist to the saga that is just continuing on. Like, it has to end at some point. And Spain, the soccer world, the public, everybody just has to move on from this at some point. But so far, it's just not doing that. Wild.
Spain needs to make some institutional changes. embrace the changes. We're in 2023, for God's sake. And that's the only way that they're going to have any national team to play in anything, because so many of the players are essentially on strike because the leadership.
And it's like the easiest. You just knew at that conference, or you just knew like they're going to force this. He's going to resign. And it could have died.
Could have easily.
What a bunch of, one, he's a jerk for being a jerk, but then what a bunch of idiots, like just in this whole situation, running everything. Jeez.
On top of it, Getafe from the Spanish league signs Mason Greenwood in the most tone-deaf move it make.
The
optics of it are just terrible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sadly, we are in a world where if you put yourself in a position to have these types of abuse charges brought against you, whether they are true or not, you are essentially labeled.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of investigation. Ultimately, in the Premier League, Manchester United said we did our due diligence. We couldn't find.
But he's only loaned out too. Got to keep that in mind.
I know, but
he could come back and he could start next season.
But the optics of the Spanish league refusing to fire Vilda and Robles, now letting that team bring in an alleged sexual abuse. It's just a mess.
Well,
the whole thing is just
an absolute mess. And on a more positive note, and that's a kind of a good segue, we'll stay in Spain in league play mainly, but Real Madrid topped the table with 4 wins, and what you would expect. But man, what an unbelievable start to life that Jude Bellingham has had, coming over from Dortmund for that $100+ million move. He scored 5 goals in 4 matches. The prize Englishman is just having himself a hell of a start to the season in the center attacking, kind of false number 9 role. Just loving life in Madrid. Such a Galactico style coming into it with what he's producing with no Benzema. It's just to put up for one of the biggest teams in the world the way that he has so far. He won himself a La Liga Player of the Month, first ever for an Englishman.
He's also linked with a move to Chelsea in the winter transfer show.
Bet. So just wild and good for him. It's only four matches in so far, so a long way to go. Girona occupy that second spot, and they are tied on points with Barcelona, who are occupy that third spot, and the other team in Madrid, Atletico Madrid, are slotting in the 4th spot. Long way to go, but just wanted to mention that with some not so negative news coming out of Spain to some actual, positive news in league play, since this is the LaLeague's Roundup. Thank you, Ron. Woo!
Snuck that in.
Yeah, you did. Or yes, I did. You were on it though. And finally, we'll stay domestic as the MLS enters its last 2 months of league play. So here's how the table's kind of currently set up. Over in the East, 10 points ahead is FC Cincinnati. They were beaten this weekend by Orlando City.
Orlando City had a whip 7 days.
They beat St. Louis City, who's top of the West, and then beat FC Cincinnati. So 2 games where you're not expecting wins on the road, but they played the St. Louis one at home and then FC Cincinnati on the road.
Yeah. 6 points from the 2 best teams in the league.
Yeah. So Orlando City then move up to 3rd. New England Revolution occupy 2nd in the East. Then you have the Philadelphia Union, Columbus Crew, Atlanta United, Nashville SC, who's been on a bit of a slump, CF Montreal, and DC United. It's 1 through 9. Remember, 1 through 9 makes the playoffs at this point. So 10th through 15th. You have Chicago Fire on 32 points, 1 point behind DC United on 33 points. And you have Charlotte FC, New York City FC, New York Red Bulls, Inter Miami CF off the bottom of the table, as they just had a big win over LAFC, last year's champs. And Inter messy, I think is fair to say at this point.
That's what I call
it. Good God.
Enter messy.
Did you see that list of VIPs at the yeah, just at the game in LA? Jeez.
Like 40 people's names, and then Owen Wilson just crushing it at the end, having the greatest conversation, gets Messi's jersey.
Wow. Jersey.
Wow.
Messi.
Oh my God.
Do we think the signing of Herndon from the Canadian national team to Toronto FC is going to really move the needle for them?
No, not this season anyways.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Not this season. Toronto went all in on some big name Italian players who haven't really produced all that much, have been hurt, have been controversial in a way, not anything bad, just haven't produced on the pitch. But Inter Miami, we'll come back to them here in a second. Over to the West, St. Louis FC first, Seattle Sounders second, LAFC third, Real Salt Lake, Houston Dynamo, Vancouver Whitecaps, Minnesota United, San Jose Earthquakes, FC Dallas. A lot of teams in there that you're not used to hearing that are in those playoff spots 1 through 9. Because then you have Austin FC, Sporting KC, who Inter Miami play next and have been on a bit of a surge and have beat top teams in the West as of late. Then you have Portland Timbers. And then we have the LA Galaxy and Colorado Rapids, who fired their manager today, My Rapids. But I might have to say My Galaxy. You want to know why?
Oh.
Billy Sharp signed with them and scored his first goal, baby.
Yes, he did.
Oh, man.
I was waiting for that.
I would have never in a million years thought that Billy Sharp going from Sheffield to LA Galaxy.
Sorry, who?
He's following Billy Sharp.
Thank you.
Following the pass of Latan. Unbelievable. Anyways, I said I'll come back to Inter Miami. But gents, do you like they won the first ever League's Cup, which if you watch the Orlando City game that they played in, how the hell did they get out of it? Anyways, we won't go into that.
Yeah.
They will be playing
star treatment.
Oh my gosh.
That's how that's going to happen.
There's
a lot of star treatment.
Yeah. Absolutely bending rules for him.
Didn't
they
another
will
big
play
one?
in the League's Cup final. What Orlando City won last year, the holders, they will play the Houston Dynamo, I think, at the end of the month for the final of that, as they just beat, I think, was it Nashville? No, I don't know. They beat somebody earlier in the week. But they are now they're now 8 points realistically from a number 9 playoff spot. You think they can make it?
How many games left?
I want to say at least 10.
Like 10 to 12?
Something like that.
I think they could do it. I mean, look who's above them. I think Charlotte and Chicago are probably the 2 toughest teams. DC United is only in 9th by their fingernails. I think they could get into the playoffs.
Next 5 games for them.
Sorry. They could get into the playoff.
The play-out
spot.
Yeah. Next 5 games. Saturday, Sporting KC. No Messi. International duty. Remember, MLS does not stop for international duty. Atlanta United on Saturday the 16th. Wednesday the 20th, midweek game against Toronto. Sunday, September 24th, Orlando City. We host Inter Miami. Then they do Houston for the Open Cup final on the 27th. A busy month, telling month. And then they have one more month where they go NYCFC, Chicago, FC Cincinnati, Charlotte, and Charlotte. Back to back. Interesting.
Well, Charlotte's in the lower half of the table. The only person they're playing in the upper half of the table is Atlanta and Cincinnati. And then Orlando City one match. So 3 of those games are with,
if they go on to win the entire thing, it's rigged, right?
Well, did you guys see the whole Louis Van Gaal article in the Daily Mail?
I don't fully disagree with him.
I didn't see that.
Agree with him.
So Louis Van Gaal is saying that the way Argentina was able to win key matches in the World Cup that got them to the final was largely rigged. He
didn't say he didn't use that exact word, but he was insinuating that.
Right. He basically said it FIFA rigged it so that he could get the most elusive trophy, or the trophy that is eluded Messi, so that he can retire from international duty. And I would say that the door's ajar.
Well, the more that keeps going on with the MLS, then yes, I would agree that there's like a door.
Yeah. So
slightly afoot.
Here's the actual quote from him. I don't really want to say much about it. When you see how Argentina gets the goals and how we get the goals and how Argentina players overstep the mark and we're not punished, then I think it was a premeditated game, said Louis Van Gaal. If you watch that Orlando City and Inter Miami game, there is some
star treatment.
Speculative calls, too. Some very interesting calls in that game where Messi probably
and you know what?
That game, there was a lot of...
So should...
if you went on Twitter, too, that wasn't Orlando fans.
Busquets.
Yeah. It wasn't just Orlando fans. That was a tremendous amount of people that were like, wow, I don't like Orlando, but that was awful. Like, that was very, truly atrocious officiating.
Anyways, that's your LaLeague's roundup.
Boom! There you go. Well, I'll move us on forward. Let's do our wrap-ups. So, beers of the pod. I had the La Magie from Wayfinder Brewing. So good. What'd you guys have?
From AleSmith Brewing Company in San Diego, California, we had the Speedway's Imperial Stout with coffee.
Follow us on all them socials. Make sure you, especially Untapped, and if you like us, leave a review, rating, tell your friends, your neighbors. You put a sign on the back of a plane.
Your mother-in-laws. Just tell everybody.
Tell everybody about us.
And your cousin who's pissed you off.
Yeah, there you go. Or maybe not. Well, they might have a bad review. We'll see what they say. Ferris, you got his Zlatan quote?
Absolutely. Zlatan on rumors that he bought a Porsche. Absolutely not. I've ordered a plane. It's much faster.
You gotta love it.
All right. Well, these are in honor of the beer Ron got me, since this place hosts Dungeons and Dragons tournaments or games at their Wayfinder Brew Pub. And Ron, if a barbarian has 10 gold pieces and a rogue steals half of it, what does the rogue take?
Whoa.
I would say it's 5 gold pieces, but it's not going to be.
A warlockless gold piece.
They take 1d12 slashing damage. Ferris doesn't even know. Ferris, he go. Here's one for you. Why is a necromancer not always a bad guy?
I don't know what a necromancer is.
You know what a necromancer is? Ron will appreciate this. Because sometimes they just want to raise a family in peace.
No.
Necromancers are wizards that like raise dead people from the ground to fight for them, like zombies and stuff, and skeletons.
That's the sound of Ferris beating his head into the microphone.
You're welcome, Ferris. Well, I guess I should just roll on along.
12-sided roll.
20, man. Come on. 20.
It's how many?
20. It's a 20-sided dice. I mean, there's a 12 for like damage and stuff, but it's a 20 for most things.
Okay. I was going off the damage thing, though, because it was damaging for us to all hear those jokes.
Yeah, it was. You definitely took a critical hit.
Oh,
there you go. All right. Well, ladies and jelly spoons, as always, it's a pleasure. Love the beer. Cherish the game, the beautiful game. Cheers, gents.